Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk. I'm your host, Joe, with Coinigy here. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some issues with OBS. Just wanted to keep crashing and kind of trying to get it set up on our end. Let us know if the audio is funky. I know we're now streaming it from my computer, and we've had issues in the past with OBS and Macs. So give us a shout out in the chat if it's working or if it sucks.
It's the professional.
Well,
Where's Adam? Adam, what do you think?
yeah.
Adam, that's a great. I don't know whether Adam stuck around. I guess for like an hour.
Yeah.
But anyway, hello everybody. I don't even have because normally I have the OBS running, so I'm seeing everything. I'm totally blind. I have no idea what anybody's saying.
We're silent in the chat so far, but
I don't think everybody gave up on us, right?
yeah. I don't even know if we have the concurrent viewers.
Yeah, there were a few requests, right? So maybe we just
there were.
Maybe just if anything, maybe this is an opportunity where we just go through the requests and
just power through them quick.
At least we did something, right? We got an A.
We got someone. Blunted Camper says, "Hey guys, how's our audio? We've been sorry about that. We ran into some issues with OBS not wanting to work, so we're streaming it from my end, which we've had issues on a Mac before. So, let me know how we sound." Still nothing. A little bit of feedback, but nothing too bad. That's as expected. That's why we've been having Brian running it. Seems to be okay.
I guess on the Twitter page, that's where I get the YouTube link, right?
Yes, I can send it over to you quick too.
How many windows? And so the reason why your system's crashing is because you got too many damn windows.
I'll send it to you quick.
Where is my webpage? Right. Right. And in the library, we should have links to our social media. Links to, I guess.
Scroll down. Thought that they.
Whether Josh and Chris have tweeted it out.
I sent it to you. I just dropped it to you in Discord.
Kind of funny how we're having kind of brain farts here. Where's the notification? Notifications. Coinigy, like two posts you were mentioned. Usually you put out a tweet or something.
I did, and I had one ready to go. It's in the drafts, but we were having the technical difficulties before.
Hey, look at that. Hey, we're live on Twitter, although you're not supposed to go Twitter.
X.
Okay, so let's see. I want to open this up
to make sure it's muted.
I would. Hey, there we are. Look at this, Joe. Hey, Joe. And then let's put this in the. I want to at least put it in the lounge. So if anybody wants to pop up.
Now Blunted says the audio's not very good.
Oh, really? I wouldn't be surprised. Joe's had a little bit of fun. Oh, that's right. Wow. Bitcoin up and down like you know what all through here, right? Fascinating. Look how we're just sitting right on a Foggenbaum level after all of that. Look, you still with me, Joe?
It's listenable, but barely. 1 second. I'm gonna try to try to fix a mic real quick.
And I don't know, did the audio go crappy when I loaded that web page? Is that what maybe triggered the crappy audio? Maybe it's like double feedback loop or something. I think they paused it.
All right. We'll see. I just changed the microphone, so let me know if that helped.
Well, you sound as awesome as audio.
That's a
Last
lot
Chat
better, they
says
said.
audio is fine for me on YouTube.
All right. They said it's a lot better, so I changed audio source mic sources.
All right, so let's maybe just jump right
All
into
right.
this.
Let's
Okay?
jump right in.
Let's give these people some value for the time. In fact, we don't even really have to talk much. Let's just fire off some symbols, do some charts, and give it some level.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining and thank you for standing by with the technical difficulties. I'm Joe with Coinigy, joined by the wonderful Mr. Brian Beamish. So let's get back into this. So starting out, let's take a look at IMX. Actually, should we just jump into just quickly talk about the Bitcoin for the day? Had a nice
Okay, so
nice drop and it was smiling at us.
how many do we have on the list?
We've got like 7 or 8,
Okay, so let's maybe do
like 3 or 4.
3 minutes a name. Well, maybe like 5 minutes. That'll be like a good 45 minutes or so. So just do quick Bitcoin at 2.618. It really shouldn't surprise us. That is the definition of chaos if I've ever seen it. I'm a bull, I'm a bear, I'm a bull, I'm a bear. Ironically enough, actually, really haven't done any technical damage yet. Moving averages are still pointing up. We did just make a higher high. Higher highs and higher lows define the bull market. For the lower time frame people, you can kind of see. I think everybody can see the potential empire top here. This is a weekly post. No, that's a daily post chart. So if we do actually go through this low that we just printed, then that actually fires the empire, and that becomes a sell signal. So ironically enough, off of the daily charts, they haven't really broken down. The problem here all along has been this big ugly bearish divergence that really is trying to tell you, you better just play your shifts. Anything, what we probably want to see is, can I have some W's come in on these momentum indicators? It's interesting how we had a MACD bullish dip try to come in, and look how the market tried desperately to convert this sort of in this W into a signal yesterday, and there was just no follow through following that. That was that breakout. So, if the market had broken out and accepted above at these new lofty levels, then I think we would have had the momentum signal. And, there's a bit of volume on that breakout. We would have had
Oh
the
yeah.
signal to go long and stay long. But it just doesn't look like the market had any traction here. So, I mean, what I said on the site today is you just have to put this market into context, people. Just understand that number one, the dead cat bounce, if you want to call it that, off of this range, that's played itself out. I mean, there is the 50% level of the entire range. We've hit a mathematical level that probably we should expect a little bit of chaos. Exactly what we're getting. And I mean, let's call it spade a spade. Where's the long-term moving average support? At any given point in time, we should expect 38.2 retracements.
That's
What I've been telling sort of the audience at TRI is, really at any given point in time, we could very easily see things like Bitcoin pull back, no problem, back to like 34,000. There's a 200 period moving average. Kind of like this, it might be like a sideways price pattern that, maybe we do something along these lines like these, and price eventually comes back and reconnects with that long-term moving average. I could see that. So it's not really a very good place to be a buyer. The original W is down here. And I've been telling everybody, and it's the same message I tell all you guys. If I wanted to be a buyer of assets, you know me, I'm religious about my funny videos, and you can see 61.8, good old mountain man, all the way down to Brian's favorite fib, the line in the sand, 78.6. That right now somewhere around 25 G's. And we've talked lots, if they really want to screw the market over, really punish the kids, run liquidity, all that kind of fun stuff, they'll wash these lows. I don't think that's going to happen right away, though. I think there's still too much short-term momentum. And if we look at the weekly chart, I think in higher time frame, I like to follow these moving averages to sort of tell me about trend. You can see how long the market consolidated here and just got to the point where, if this thing was going to break, it had permission to break, and it put in a quick double bottom and took off. So is this the kind of environment that I'm thinking, oh, we're going to crash and, that's the end of the bull? No, moving averages are way too bullish. If anything, I think what we need is a little bit of consolidation period. That might mean we trade up to new highs. It might mean we pull back. I mean, you saw where 38.2s were there earlier. So I would really personally, I would actually call this like a trading range. Probably 13 EMAs are short-term support, and things like Mountain Man, this high horizontal support and resistance, is probably resistance. So I tell people on the site that the statistical odds, 50,000, big fat round number as resistance, or dumps into, and probably it would be easier for you to all understand. We just do things like 50% levels. Good old Colin and his pump chaser zone. I still think the odds are basically split between either of these events happening, and they're just playing with the market right now. And the trend is up right now, and this will take a while to roll over and actually turn into a bear. If it stays like this and you get a sharp pullback in price, then that definitely is a buying opportunity. If it does become like a long rolling top and then we roll over and you get this like solidified top, multiple highs, then I think maybe you can cool your jets. But if we just get like sharp pullbacks, that's actually awesome. That's the kind of situation where you really probably want to have bids working at like Mountain Man or against these lows, and you get some sharp crash. It's painted in the media that it's the end of the world and Bitcoin's crashing and blah 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 blah. But in reality, all they're doing is they're backing it up into a buying window. So, yeah, that's the way I would look at Bitcoin right now. I don't think the investors have to be too concerned because we've traded to new highs. And I would also say too, what should happen? I've seen in, check out my Twitter feed. Put out tweets to this effect. Usually, this 61.8 gets traded to before the halving event. In the past cycle, it went up right away up into here and then had to back off. Then it did sort of like something like that afterward, roughly. 2 cycles ago, it actually rallied up right into the halving event and then had to correct. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but my hunch is that this 61.8 level, big fat round number, 50 G's, all around that ETF, all that kind of stuff. That's my hunch that that's what happens. Anyway,
we'll see. We'll see. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Next up was Zcash, ZEC. Slash US
ZEC, what do we want versus USD versus Bitcoin? What do we want to do?
Let's try USD, and let's see what. Let's try it on Coinbase there, a couple down, right there.
You guys remember this when these first coins came out? They were really funny.
I remember this.
C coins, a guy paid like 3,000 Bitcoin for one coin because his algorithm went nuts. Well, I hate to say it, that's not the most bullish looking image.
No.
Weekly price chart. always best to start your analysis off at a weekly basis. And actually, you see this happen a lot in venture cap and in, really the market in general. I think you can make an argument there was a double bottom that was put in, and even this could be considered an Adam and then an Eve. So technically speaking, it isn't that bad looking of a bottom. And you can clearly see where the bottom is. And unfortunately, in this case, mind you, it's not really those big numbers here, but you can see there's the bottom. And look how they played with this level repeatedly. So are they kind of messing around with the amateurs right now and really messing with their heads? Clearly, somebody down at this level right down here does not want the market to go any lower. So it'd be interesting to look at the order book, see if there's any kind of icebergs or anything down in that area that are sort of holding price up. As I said, there was a little bit of a double bottom that came in, but they just went and busted that out. So unfortunately, if you're a trader, and you're doing, even Joe six-pack kind of risk model, you just got stopped out. And I would imagine it's probably going to be a bunch of that here through this most recent liquidity event that happened here. Saw a lot of sort of talk when the Bitcoin price did break there overnight that it was a lot of sort of liquidations and all that kind of stuff. So, if you're shooting for, that's short, along off of that level, I mean, I don't fault you. That's not bad. Ideally, you'd like to get like a 2-to-1 risk reward. So we never did get anywhere near those levels. And unfortunately, we've come down here. And in this big, ugly tail, they went and washed this low. Could you have said, well, that's there's no sugarcoating it, right? So if you had played this double bottom and that was your trading plan, you have to book your loss and you just walk away. Sucks. It looks like the moving averages should turn bullishly here. And I might argue, I used to always tell people once upon a time, a million years ago, I asked Linda Bradford Radke how many times she would take a shot at an idea if she was convinced that this was a trade. She said, well, usually I do 2 shots. So this might be an example where you took your first shot off of this W, it failed, and you just want to keep laser beam focused, and maybe another W will come in right shortly thereafter, and it turns out this whole thing was a massive W. I've seen that happen plenty of times.
Interesting.
But this is a good example of a double bottom that I think failed. And, unfortunately, a lot of the kids on the site been all excited about the Solana network recently. So we went all piling into there and set up a little trading account. And what I've just noticed is a lot of the junior, let's call them maybe less secure cryptocurrencies. They always say the poop always rises last. Those names are all starting to perk up. And then, of course, the market starts to break here and they all get beat up really quickly. And what ends up happening is you end up getting this cascading effect of lower highs and lower lows. And if you don't respect the fact, like if you're a trader, if you put like, say, 20% of your stake into this and you can only risk a quarter of that or else you're breaking Brian's rules, and you got to just admit that this W didn't work and go into capital preservation mode and wait for the next W to come in. So that's my 2 cents there. It's not a pretty picture, and quite often in technical analysis, when you're trying to sort of catch this falling knife, trying to catch the bottom of these things, sometimes it takes a few attempts. Like you can see, there was a W that was potentially put in here, and boom, they slapped you in the face.
Yeah.
So, this guy's been awfully painful to try and sort of pick the bottom. Maybe you might want to take the attitude, when you do look at something like this, I always think that the market's trying to make like a saucer bottom. Maybe the bottom looks something like that. Maybe it might be in your best interest to just let this if this is a saucer bottom, just let it play out. where you actually start seeing higher highs and higher lows, and then you do things like work reload zone bids and stuff. So I don't know. The fact that we made this panic low, and then there's this low here. Can they hold this? Can it start turning back up? And then, like I said, Linda Bradford Ranchke, you're really, really in love with this thing, maybe give this W down here another shot. And if you do get one that comes in, maybe take a shot. But as it stands right now, the most recent W. And, actually, there's another name. It's kind of off topic, but it's along the similar vein. A buddy of mine and I are trying to build a position in this BNT. Oops. And it just really, I think the best thing to do is just be really, really patient with these because, and what I'm kind of thinking is there needs to be, in fact, actually, I even talked about this on the Daily Brief, the sort of conversation video we had today that maybe in your trading plan is you want to see blood in the streets. It's not a bad approach, believe it or not. And so this one here, we're just waiting patiently through that panic. This morning they made a new low, so really there's nothing for us to do here right now. But just a good example that I don't know whether, on something like this, I don't know whether we've actually turned the corner here yet. You might be like still in that trying to catch a falling knife kind of market state. Then I'd also say, I mean, what are these guys doing? They're an old story. Do notice one thing in crypto, unless you've got like a really receptive audience and almost like a cult following, you can fall out of favor and just not do anything. I mean, I think a really good example of that is like Dash, where these we used to lament about Dash and Amanda's Penthouse and the whole thing, and literally they've done nothing since. It's yesterday's story. People are really not that interested. Just hasn't done anything.
Lower
Take
lows.
that into account too. This is venture capital, right? We want hot, we want sexy, we want what's the flavor du jour. Sometimes in these older names, they just don't come back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a newer name, then EWT was one that was requested a handful of times.
Energy Webs.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of Chico Crypto. He kind of like this one.
Let's see. Yeah.
And I still think it's having a hard time turning the corner. You might look at that and say, well, that kind of looks like an inverted head and shoulders.
Yeah.
So, and keep in mind, we'll be looking at the higher time frames. Don't really want to look at the lower time frames with you guys on this free show because you just don't have enough time to react. I don't know whether I would go off of that high. I might even just go off of this high here. Something like, something like, oh, come on, dude.
There we are.
You down here. That's a tough one. Price purist would say, hey, that's cheating. You're not allowed to do that. But I don't know. I mean, there's actually a number of things that this can't be a inverted head and shoulders, but this low is too low. Yeah, I don't think that's an inverted head and shoulders. So what do we see here? Actually, this reminds me of that conversation we just had about ZEC and, thinking saucer bottom. So, if we take it from, say, way up here, it sure feels, in fact, actually, it might even go a little bit higher. At some point down the road, you should actually be able to kind of look at this, and mathematicians, I bet they would be able to look at this and, calculate the slope and the angle of the hypotenuse and all that stuff and figure out sort of what the parabola sort of cadence is. Is this the ultimate low, or maybe there has to be another one over here? I don't know.
You're throwing out words that I haven't heard since algebra that I was hoping I wasn't gonna have to. But if it comes back into trading, I guess I'm gonna have to relearn about it.
Geometry, lots of geometry. We use tons of
Yeah,
geometry.
geometry, not
Right?
algebra.
Anyway, I don't know whether there's something like this. The problem here is that you're making successive lower highs and lower lows. So by definition, this is still a bear. It looks like it's perking up a little bit here in the short term, so that's encouraging. I would say the short-term move looks like a measured move. I don't know whether you can call that. And, you might find that actually this looks slightly different on these other ones. Let's see over here. Does that have that move? Why not? There it is. Oh, yep, that's there too. Maybe what this just is just A to B. C to D. That would make sense. Right up against that old. You're probably gonna get some like crazy wick that just pops up there and then it comes back down. So I could see a measured move down in here. But and I suppose the move up off these lows has caused the moving averages to cross. So that's encouraging. What I'd really like to see is just a nice solid base. If they could just sort of calm it down. That's what you'd ideally like to see. So the fact that this is a new low, straight up off of the lows, you're probably too early to start calling trends.
Gotcha.
If I look at the indicators, looks like there's a bit of buying interest. So whatever this day was, that was in November, late October, early November. You remember the whole damn market pivoted through there. But it'd be interesting to see if there was some sort of fundamental event. You see how the MACD divergence actually confirmed on that push. So whatever your fundamental development was this particular date here, that clearly is what's sort of driving price right now. And my sort of three-step setup would be I want to see divergence confirmed. Great. Now I want to see a W. So kind of what I said there earlier. What I'd like to see is can I have a nice W come in on pricing? So that's the way I look at that guy.
Awesome.
Whatever it's worth.
Cool. Thank you for that. So next one was Coval. COVAL/USD.
US dollars?
Yeah, on Coinbase there.
Wow. Well, and I see a lot of names like this. I don't know, is this one of these video game coins?
The
There's a
overview.
lot of these. I think there was another one somebody on the site mentioned our buddy Stoned Ape. And I was like, damn, man, I gotta start accumulating this stuff. Often what ends up happening in the stock in all markets, really, I've noticed it's not just the stock market. You have sort of windows where things look technically appealing, but if price just doesn't move through that window, at some point those momentum moves will exhaust themselves. They always say if a market can't go up when it's supposed to go up, guess what happens when it's supposed to go down?
Goes down.
Yeah, it goes down a lot. And if a market can't go down when it's supposed to go down, guess what happens when it's supposed to go up? Oh my goodness, they go crazy. So this one is supposed to be going up right now. So that's not a good sign. The fact that it's kind of just dormant here. Now, it might be one of these things like if we look at an algorithmic, you could see the rally. So let's see. Or logarithmic, sorry, not algorithmic. And then maybe let's put moving averages away so we can. I don't know why we can't zoom in on this chart. Anyway, so you can see there was a nice bottom here in Willie, and Willie's stupid. So that was a terrible place to be a seller. And you might argue a little bit of a momentum buy coming in through there. So this is when the market's supposed to go up. All right, you can see the indicators are pointing up. Weekly chart too. They have lots of time. MACD, same sort of thing. You can see on the MACD the bullish divergence, and I don't know if there's a divergence or not, but the bull move confirmed here. So you can kind of see where the market got the green light to rally. I also suppose you could argue on OBV. You can see a W right there. And probably also RSI. You can see the little W right there. So you can clearly see that the whole market set up like, okay, as of this point, we are going into rally mode. Now the question ultimately here is there any reason for the rally? Is there any driver? Is it just going to be nothing more than technical? And then once that momentum, that sort of mathematical situation has played itself out, then it's going to just resume what it's doing. And that's kind of what this looks like to me. So if this was just purely technical and nothing else, then we'd see things like 38.2s, 50% retracements, reload zones, all that kind of fun stuff. So you can see 38.2, 50% level. So WD GAN, wicks and tails like to be eaten. And you can see we actually tagged this original fail level. I wouldn't even be surprised. There were probably some open orders too short. And those guys sleeping on the couch, they all bought in here. They're desperately trying to get out of this trade. So you can see the rally goes up into those levels and gets bitch slapped back down. So I don't know that there's actually any reason to be bullish of this. Give me a reason. What's the fundamental driver? Is there a new product? Is there a new service? Is Steve Jobs come back from the grave and he's gonna resurrect COBOL to all-time highs?
Raise them up like the White Walkers.
Company, right? What's that?
Raise them up like the White Walkers from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
It's right.
I think you can see the technical turn, right? Double bottom, doji candles, right? Probably if you drill down to like a daily chart, these look like W's down in here. Yeah, you can see the W's, especially right through here. Nice consolidation. See the moving averages turned up nicely there. Moving averages were very bearish. They turned bullish here, and then up we go. I think the buy is like right through here. You could argue that, reload zones, that's probably right in through this window. So here we are all the way up here. If you did buy this level, this is 7/10 of a cent. And we got all the way up mysteriously. Look where the price stopped. 7/10 of a cent, 6/10 of a cent. Who do you think's selling right up in here at 12/10 of a cent?
Smart people.
Huh?
Smart people. People who've TRIers.
Probably. I tell you, we build pretty freaking good traders.
I'd say so.
The irony of it all is that actually, I haven't given you a shill for the education program, but the education program is starting. We have a new term in January, and we do have a raffle. So if you are watching this, and hopefully Joe, maybe you can put the raffle in the show link
in
or
the
something.
link. I'll do that now.
Yeah, maybe in the show description. But actually, I even did this today. If you go on this is my bread and butter. In fact, actually, there was somebody who came on the site recently, and I was like, "Well, what do you think I should say to the public? What do you think what's the?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? Bang doubles, banging out doubles, banging out doubles. What are you talking about? That's it, banging out doubles, keep banging out doubles." So. I was like, okay, fine. Let's make sure we're tweeting out all the doubles we're banging out here. Banged out a couple in the stock market today. I was pretty impressed with that. And actually, we're even having fun banging out doubles on little shit coins on the Solana network. That was a lot of fun. Coin called Potato. You're trading DGen crypto when your cryptocurrency that you're trading is called Potato. It's like, what? And actually, this is a good question for you.
All right.
Can I chart on like Potato versus SOL on Coinigy? I don't even
Unless
remember
it's
what that's
listed on
about.
one of the exchanges that we have, then no. I actually just messaged our developers last night saying we got to get like Jupiter on here, but it might be on Uniswap. But
Potato?
yeah, it takes no.
No, no potato. Yeah, so you guys got to get the potato, and then I can't even look at that stuff on like the place I actually have to do the charting and stuff is
Yeah.
the craziest sites. Like you said, it's
Oh,
like
like the
Jupiter and all
dot
these.
jupe.ag
They what's it?
and
Bird
Bird Eye.
Eye. I have no idea who these guys
I don't
are.
know, but it's been fun to track some of these coins on there. I've been doing this. We had our call. You and I talked yesterday, and
Oh, look at our code.
there we go.
Nice. Well, that's good to see. Look at him go.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
there you go. So that guy actually perked up. Oh, son of a gun. I think I was telling you about this
yeah,
one yesterday.
I
Anyway,
picked some up.
and then halfway through me talking to Joe about this, I go, you know what? I shouldn't be giving you investment advice. You know, I forget about what I said here.
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
I-
But actually, I think I might have banged out a double on this son of a gun. Because remember, we were coming in and buying the W there the other day.
yep.
Oh, son of a gun. Oh well. Anyway, that's kind of cool.
So yeah, it's
So
been interesting
let's
to.
make it a habit to try and get these SOL coins on Coinigy.
I know. I literally
And this is
messaged our developers in our developer discussion channel. I said, "Hey guys, let's take a look at this. I think it'd be really awesome." Got a couple
right.
other
I mean,
things
this
on the
is
pipeline right
basically
now.
everything that we teach in our education program. Try to come in at the bottom end of range. That's probably a pretty good trade location. Do you have indicators in divergence? Can you see how the MACD histogram's making higher lows here and then breaking out here? You see how
Yeah.
positive there? And Willie stupidly oversold. And look at, holy shit, look at somebody came in and bought a ton of these things down here. Right? So I think there was lots. In fact, that almost looks like that OBV deal, but I think you can make the argument there's quite a bit of anecdotal evidence for a bottom down here, and it shouldn't surprise you, right? That this price, like you see over here, is around 7/10 of a cent. And where did it stop? It stopped right around 13, 14 cents because what people are doing, what smart money does, is they buy
They sell half on a
a
dub.
fairly sizable position. You could have very easily gotten filled anywhere down here. And then you sell half of it when it doubles in price. That way you get all your original capital back in your hands.
It's risk-free
And you're
trade.
just playing with a risk-free trade. It's a very simple way of playing the market, and it's very, very effective. So that's what I meant when I sort of said, "Well, do you think it's an accident it stopped up
Nope.
here?" And Joe snickered because now Joe has been he's become quite learned.
I have. I'm learning from the best, and
Hey, there you go.
so
Actually, I'm quite surprised, man. I've been getting some pretty good compliments from people on Twitter and on social media of late. So thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
awesome. Glad to hear it. Gotta give credit where credit's due. So
Okay. So if you did want to buy this thing, and this is actually the message that I've been sending out to everybody on the site, and I would say the same thing to you. Now, what you need to do now is you actually need to take the next 6, 8 months. And what I might even suggest, especially with things like venture cap, is maybe even draw things like 88.6s as well.
okay, the venture cap
And
reload zones.
if you really like this name, and remember we looked at there was a coin that was making a monthly W, and I almost peed my pants when I saw that.
Is that ELA?
And what I said was, all right, just get your bids working. We'll throw in a bid at the 50% level. Throw in a bid at Mountain Man. Throw in a bid at Brian's favorite fib. Throw in a bid at 88.6. And, Brian has two rules of investing. Number one, try and work with an algorithm, some sort of system that that, if I trade, if I do this, this, and this, three unrelated reasons, three-step setup. You guys know how all this goes. That I should see a good 60, 70% accuracy. And then rule number two is don't put more than 5% of your money or your stake into any one bet. So here's a case where you could just sprinkle like 1% of your stake at each of these levels, and that would be 1, 1, 1, 1. So you got 4% all invested. Maybe it gives you like an average investment price somewhere around the middle of all of these levels, and you're in. And that's the little old lady planting flowers approach to investing. That's really, really simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink this stuff. And I suppose the question you ultimately have on a name like this is, if we are going into a bull market, has this thing got any chance of actually doubling in price? I mean, it already has.
Yes.
Is it likely, if you get the fills down in here, that it comes back and trades back to these levels again?
Yes.
I think so. I don't think it's unrealistic. And then what I would simply say is a really great way to sort of measure what a realistic move is. Not a pie in the sky, not a new bull market, just a realistic, keep it simple, stupid, is just draw the entire range of whatever price you see and just break it in half. Right?
Yeah.
It's called the 50% rule, WD GAM. And odds are, at some point, these fools who bought this spike here, price will get back up there and they will get released. They'll have their opportunity to get out of that bad trade. There is the 50% rule. In fact, I'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts that this traffic area is a major magnet for price. At some point, we will work our way back up in there. So that's actually a really good example of one. I mean, I don't know the fundamentals here, but if you, after doing your due diligence, you figure there is good fundamental value, you're not really chasing, you're coming in at the bottom end of the range, throw on your reload zones, get your bids working, and slowly take the next 6 months. I actually think that, we could very easily see February, March, a pretty nasty pullback in the broader market. And I like the idea. Try and remember this. For the next 2 years, for the next 2 years. And of course, the 1% is going to have you thinking the exact opposite. But just remember this, tattoo it on your bloody forehead. Pullbacks are buying opportunities. Opportunities.
There we go.
Terrible spelling.
Spell it. Just pronounce it phonetically.
Well, that's it. I used to always spell phonetically, and then you have some really weird words that just don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, try and remember this for the rest of your life, or at least the
Next 2 years.
And I love the idea that if we do get pullbacks on names like this over the next 6 months, that's going to set up one hell of a buying window there. So this is actually a pretty good example of a very typical altcoin and how I would approach the market over the next 6-8 months.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, the next one on our suggested list from the audience was one we talked about a couple weeks back, but maybe we look at it again. IMX. I think last time you said, let's take IMX versus USD on Coinbase. I think is where we looked last time. I love
this Coinbase place. Coinbase is your girlfriend. What? That's your boyfriend.
I've been that's been my main exchange recently, is gotten off some other ones. And I did do some trading with the Soul stuff too on Jupiter, but
cool. But that's just degen shit. Right?
Very, very minimal. It was just
I will say though that actually I've taken on the challenge. Do you remember like the potato? I even said this was a funny one. I got a double off in like literally 47 minutes.
He's got to get it when it lists.
So I bought here as it was breaking out. Actually, I think I got filled on this big red candle when it dipped back down here. And I got filled here on my double order here. Maybe I should have had a couple double orders working, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, so typical. But anyway, I took the challenge on that I'm going to, on the Solana network, specifically doing these kind of trades, I'm going to replicate this, which I did on Trex. So we funded this account in 2000, the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015. So it's kind of similar, but funded that with $500 and we ramped it up into the hundreds of thousands. So that's the goal. We're going to do it on Solana too. All right, back to the story here. Oh, I don't like the look
Yeah.
of this. What are you getting me to buy here?
Yeah. There's a request, but now that I see it, where we're at now, that's don't chase.
Well, that's good. You're learning the lingo. Love that. I mean, look how clean this is, right? If I draw my reload zones and I go boom, and we'll go conservative futures trader. And just remember, a venture cap penny stock player. I like the idea that we're going to do 78.6 to 88.6. But can you see how, oh, what a big surprise. There's a
Weekly
W that
W
comes in right through that reload zone. So,
and takeoff. Could have gotten a
I mean,
couple
this is,
shots.
if anything, you should, whoever's asking about this, you should print this chart out and go, okay, so do you not see how history is kind of repeating itself? And are you not like literally almost like literally the same as coming in on the buy side up here? You might see one more spike higher. And oh, look how smart I am. But 6, 8 months from now, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
I could very easily say that. And that's why exactly what Joe says there. You have to train yourself to say you're not allowed to chase. Even though it looks like, oh my God, this thing's the next best thing since sliced bread. Usually, if you come in and buy a market up like this, you regret it. So, do the same thing now. Where could I buy it?
Around
Like
between
that.
50 or 60 cents.
I think, believe it or not, I think actually I would even prefer just to do the whole damn range. And go there all the way to there. And then what I would also do is I would just draw a simple trend line and say, if this market does decide to come back to the long-term trend, that's where I can invest. But if it doesn't, well, then I've just missed the boat. Something like that. Again, there's that sort of March. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what the hell this is going to look like? And don't quote me on that. I don't know whether it's going to look like that or not. But ironically enough, if I wanted to be a buyer, you can see exactly where I would be a buyer. And I wouldn't be a buyer way there. I just couldn't do it.
Understandable. Yeah.
I suppose that one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And probably also too, if we start looking at the momentum picture up here, my hunch is there's probably divergences and stuff up here. Whoa, look at the RSI.
Yeah. Stupid.
Wow, look at the size of that M. And then look at the div that came in here on this push to new highs just over here. And that even showed up on the MACD as well. Oh, look at Willie. This is why I built Willie. You can make your life really, really easy if you just simply, if you want to play with something, play with my Willie. It's a really, really fun toy.
Hey, it shows here. It's overbought here.
So Willie, stupidly overbought. You really ought to leave this thing alone. And it's just a simple indicator to keep you honest. You can see exactly where you were supposed to be a buyer.
It's a W.
And the irony of it all is down here. Probably if I said, hey, you know what? You should probably buy this thing because it's stupidly oversold. You would have said, that thing's a piece of crap, man. There's no way I'm going to buy that. I mean, that's the irony of this game, right? This is the way it works. When they always say, actually, Joe, maybe write this down. This should be the quote of the week. Let's see if you've ever heard this before. They always say this is the only business that when stuff goes on sale, how does the rest of that line go?
It's the only business when stuff goes on sale that I don't know.
Nobody wants to buy.
Nobody wants to buy. Oh yes, that totally makes sense.
So that was all down in here. I mean, if you really like this thing, where were you? Why didn't you buy this W here? It's pretty obvious exactly where you were supposed to buy this, right? And even Joe knows this from
Yep. Yep. That's
right?
a beautiful
and,
W.
you'd be driving your Lambo right now. Look at that. That's 4x. You're gonna now. What's the realistic odds of this thing going 4x from here? I don't think so. That would mean that this thing has to go to like $10. No, I don't think that's realistic.
Understandable.
So, unfortunately, I'm sorry whoever asked about it. And often people get angry at me that
And
I
keep
start getting a little snippy and a little sarcastic and stuff when I see names that. In fact, actually, I remember a couple of years ago when the entire crypto universe looked like this, and it's interesting how the market's starting to look like this because like 6, 8 months ago, and probably Joe even remembers this. I was like going, man, people, do you have your shit together? Get your shit together.
Yep.
You heard me when I was going talking about all that?
Oh yeah. Get your shit together.
So this is the end result of that. But you can't come in now.
No.
You missed the boat. You missed the party. You know what this is? This is the best analogy I've always had for this. This is you're at the University of Oregon, and wow, what a kegger! Now,
Yep.
actually, probably Wisconsin's probably better for the keggers. Marquette, is it? Are they a party school?
I had fun there. I had fun.
I was at DKE. I don't know if you did the whole fraternity thing.
I did not do a fraternity,
Right.
but
Anyway, the point is you showed up at the frat house. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. There's guys passed out on the on the grass out front. The place is a total mess. The
yep.
music's winding down, and you're just getting there, right? And you're like, "All right, where's the party? Where's the party?" Right? Everybody is like, "Oh, why is he talking so loud? Get that guy out of my face!"
Yeah.
You know.
So this one considered late to the party. We do have one final one. I think we've done a pretty dang good job powering through some, but then Ron, RONUSDT.
Seems appropriate that we talk about Ron.
Oh,
Iron?
OKEX.
Ron. Well, okay. This is an okay coin?
OKEX. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, this is okay coin. So you're dabbling here in well,
Oh,
it's the same
don't
story.
chase. Yep.
It's it's the exact same story.
Yep.
So, and unfortunately, this doesn't surprise me. Okay, coin looks like this. Whoever asked this, and especially if you are asking about coins listed on OK Coin, maybe Joe, you know this, maybe you don't. How does this expression go? You liquidate me.
I liquidate you.
No.
No, I don't know.
You liquidate me. Maybe Google that. OK Coin, you liquidate me. ... How does the rest of that go? I don't even have the YouTube page up here, so I don't even know if anybody's even watching us tonight. Let's see if anybody. Did Adam eventually make it?
We had 47 viewers.
Hey, fucking A, man. Son of a bitch. There you go. All right, well, all you 47 viewers, you should know the answer to this. You liquidate me. What? How does the rest of that go?
No answers yet.
Hey, there's Adam. Adam did make it.
Yes.
Wow. This just goes to show how long I've actually been in this space. Right?
Yeah.
I've literally watched this space like a hawk for like 10 years. So, wow, nobody knows this line, eh? Anyway, there was a famous stop run, back 10 years ago when OK Coin actually was a thing. And there was a guy who had a $13 million position on. And sucky sucky long drive. No, that's a different movie. Anyway, and he got liquidated because OK Coin ran the stops. They totally were manipulating the price of Bitcoin, and he took a bottle of bleach down to their offices. And he said the famous line was, "You liquidate me, I liquidate myself." And if they didn't reinstate his positions, he was going to drink the bottle of bleach publicly right in front of their office.
Ay, caramba.
Yeah, and yeah, you're not even familiar with that story, eh? Because
No,
that's like Bitcoin. That's how hardcore this shit is. No,
no. I was trying to find it. I was Googling it. I'll have to do some research after the show.
well, yeah, maybe.
Um,
Okay, so point of the matter here is, if you come in and buy this thing right here, you're kind of asking for trouble. Come on, people. I suppose if we look at this on a regular chart, it's going to look crazy. Ready? Survey says, boom.
yep.
Man, how can I come in and buy that way up there? Not allowed to do that. And if anything, what a beautiful analogy of good old reload zones. So if we take this all the way back down to the bottom end of the range, look at that, basically the bottom right in that reload zone. I think we would probably call this, I don't know whether we would or not. This would be an interesting one. Adam and Steve, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know whether we would call this whole thing Eve Adam? Maybe. Anyway, you shake it, you can clearly see where value is. And it ain't up here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see where the reload zone is. I mean, anybody can do this. You can draw a really simple trend line. And, you can kind of see the cadence. Like, we could probably even take this, like, arc tool, right? We can go there to there and there. And then we could do the same thing. Probably the next cycle looks almost exactly the same. This is like your geometry class. So that means there, where is the pivot top? Probably somewhere right around there. And you notice how this makes choppier highs? So it's sort of like, comparatively speaking, you're coming in, notice all these spiky highs. It's almost like you're coming in and buying this right there.
Yeah.
There might be like one more push up.
But then,
You're like, what up, Brian? Look at me. I'm so smart. Look at me and whatever. And then, oh, Jesus H. Christ. Right?
yeah. Then you're down 50%.
So is this really the best place to come in and buy an asset when it's had that big move up like that? It's not what I would do. And fascinating, right? You can see there is Brian's favorite fib, and there's a trend line. And if we think, cycle low to cycle low, what this really saying is that's probably your cycle low there. And that would imply somewhere around the U.S. election.
That makes sense.
And I actually kind of like that because I think that Bitcoin and crypto does relatively well into the halvening. But once the halvening is done, usually there's kind of like a hangover following the halvening. And it's sort of like, okay, the halvening's happened. Now what? What do we talk about now?
Yeah.
I've seen that happen repeatedly in this game. So it's interesting that, there is April, and that's sort of around our Bitcoin peaking event. And, following that into the U.S. election, I would imagine it'll be interesting to see whether because keep in mind, it's fascinating, the socialists down in the States, Warner, the senator from the great state of Washington, man, she's a piece of work. Gensler as sort of a puppet of the 1% running the SEC. In an interesting sort of twist of fate, all the money center banks, Joey Diamond playing footsie with Warner in the Senate the other day. I think we should just ban Bitcoin altogether.
I'm sure you'd like that.
Well,
yeah.
I don't. it'll be interesting to see the angle that they play into the U.S. election, and then if Mr. Orange Toupee happens to win, does the whole risk market have just like an orgy on the other side of that event? I could actually see that. That would make sense to me. If anything, in a weird sort of way, I think the whole risk market, the whole capitalist market, if Mr. Orange Toupee comes storming back into power, they are just going to have the biggest fucking field day party ever.
Would not be
So
surprised.
maybe this will be like a sell the rumor, buy the news. I could see
Yeah.
that. That wouldn't surprise me.
Well, we can't. We do have one from the audience here that I think we could end on. I know we kind of got through the one cruise through the ones that came in for the chat, but spell.
I
Uh,
like spell. Jesus
yeah.
Christ, I want to buy the crap out of that. What's happened to Danny? I've been asking everybody on the site, how the hell do I buy spell? I want to buy spell. I want to buy spell. Man,
Um.
you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the way I went ape shit over that one that you showed me last
Yeah.
week. And interesting that the boys, the people on the site were telling me that the U.S. regulators actually like Danny. Look at,
Yeah.
he's on Kraken, he's on
Yeah.
Coinbase. Oh my goodness.
See it on Coinbase here.
I like spell. I like this. If I could buy, I would be all over this damn thing. I've got all my capital for crypto tied up on this stupid ledger thing, and it's a bitch buying anything on that damn thing. But anyway, that's my own personal demons I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
I tell you, it sure was really easy when Trex was there, and of course it was like the Wild West.
Yeah.
But hell, even hey, you know what? I've been getting a lot of emails about Cryptopia lately. I don't know whether you remember
Yeah.
that.
Cryptopia was your guys' bread and butter in up
Yeah, I
there in
love
Canada.
Cryptopia. It was weird. Like you'd look at shirts on Cryptopia, and all the price gaps and stuff would all be right at our levels, and it
Yeah.
was almost like it was like a hidden cheat sheet. Anyway, all right. So this is basically the message I've been putting out on the site. Is I mean, you first off, you tell me if this guy does get his act together, is he got any room to move up here at all?
Oh yeah.
I love when I see charts like this. You can't even see where all the damn price is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a technician's wet dream. What did we say? What's the knee-jerk sort of technical level that you should be thinking about?
That the 50% rule.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. WD GAN. Where is the 50% level here? There's probably a fucking 20 million Lambos with this damn thing. Look at that. So 50% of the range here. I'm gonna have to put it on log scale just so we can see this. But that says what, one and a half cents roughly?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. When we change it to log scale, that jumps up to 0.3 of a cent. Oh, interesting. Actually, I like that level because remember we were talking earlier about how 50% level lining up nicely with traffic. So, here we are sitting at these numbers are ridiculous.
Just say 58.79.
I think you say 5,800 sats. I think you could say that. I can't remember if that's legit or not. But anyway, so it's a little bit expensive. I mean, me personally, I'd like to see it down here in the reload zone, right? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a dip against that low there. That would probably be really sexy right down into that window. You can see how it's fighting like the Dickens to hold on to this trend line. This trend line feels a little bit too steep though. And then of course, like I said, if crypto has to take a bit of a swoon here into the spring, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. But if I could somehow get long this coin anywhere between about 4,000 and 4,500 sats, I would be more than happy to buy as much as you want to give me. I mean, well, within reason. 5% will, all that. Right? I don't know how long this is going to take to develop. It might take a while. But I would absolutely love to have some spell on the books. I think this thing's got money written all over it. Having said that, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. Like I
Yeah.
said, if anything, it's at 5,800, like you said. Right now, I would prefer that it would be about 20-25% lower than where we are right now. So that's sort of the trader in me. Um, if I'm thinking little old ladies, I really don't have a problem just putting myself on an accumulation plan, and just coming in once every couple months or so and just picking up a little bit of this. I think there's money to be made on this. And from what I understand, Danny is a very smart guy. He definitely has, and what's interesting about him too is that I think he's very endearing to the crypto space. So, when he started to have some success in previous cycles, everybody just piled on the bullish bandwagon, right? Adam says, I tagged you in Danny tweet, Brian. All right, thanks, man. I'll check that out. Oh, actually, why don't we even see that? It probably comes up on the notifications then. How does that work? Mind you, I don't know if this platform works the way that it used to work. But should it not be under notifications? Are you here, Adam? Where are you, Adam? I don't see it. What's your Twitter handle, Adam? Are you cheese guy over there too?
He said, I'm looking yet.
Probably shouldn't. I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
I'm
For
you're
another,
having a conversation with a TRI.
yeah,
That's
no
probably
worries.
not the best thing to do. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I see that you're there. My question is, what's your handle on Twitter so I can see that?
Crypto cheese.
Crypto cheese. All right. Let's see. Crypto cheese. Like how many crypto cheeses there are? I don't know which crypto cheese you are. You know what? I'll catch up with you later.
Anyways,
I'm a little surprised though that I didn't get a notification that you tagged me in that though. I don't know how that shit works. So anyway, all right. So point here is I like this as an idea going forward. It's probably a little bit expensive where it is right now. If I can get a pullback, if we can get some sort of flash crash right down against these lows, that would just be music to my ears. And ultimately, what would be the absolute perfect scenario is a nice big fat, wide bottom, Adam and Steve kind of scenario. That would be perfect buying window. But I really do, because remember, I'm a cheap ass, right? So I can't go and chase up markets. So, that's one reason why I'm very interested in this name, right? And just to put it into perspective, right? If I take it back to the regular scale, like I said, I mean, this is what we're looking at investing. Has this thing got any room to move up here? If we actually hit this and Danny actually is legit and this thing is still for real, there's a boatload of money to be made on this. It's just the question here is number one, is Danny still a thing? And then number two, is he going to be using this vehicle going forward, or is he starting a whole new project and he doesn't even have any interest in this? And that really I'd have to leave up to the community, who are the fundamental watchers, and what's the story coming out of Danny. Like you said, Adam, you saw a tweet from him earlier today. So my question would be: Is Spell even still on his radar screen? There are other names like I bought a little bit of this Luna, this stable coin. I think it was UST versus USD. Not because I'm in love with these guys or anything, but they're actually this isn't it. But this thing's trading at like pennies on the dollar. And we picked up a little bit for a lark. Yeah, there it is. And if these guys get their act together and they actually reestablish the peg, well, you can see how much money there is to be made.
yeah.
So, and they kind of got things going here recently. We were looking all smart for getting in down here. So you never know. This is Luna, right? Does Luna rise again? Who knows? And does Spell do something like this? It wouldn't surprise me, folks. It really wouldn't.
To be determined. Well,
Yeah. So I guess the answer is I think I've said this repeatedly. I really don't mind the idea of accumulating Danny. What I would like though is if we could get some sort of fundamental read on what he's actually up to. Does he have some sort of roadmap or something? That'd be really interesting to hear about. Here's a funny story. CZ recently settled with regulators, and uh, basically they kicked him out of Binance, and they basically killed the BUSD. But CZ said that like 99% of his wealth is still wrapped up in this BNB token. And he's using this to fund his ventures in crypto. Now,
his
you tell
lawyer
me,
fees.
what letter of the alphabet does that kind of look like?
W.
Uh, is this thing maybe, is it possible that maybe CZ might have another good investment idea at any point in the rest of his life?
Possible.
The guy fucking owned crypto with its first foray.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine, ironically enough, and this is my opinion, I think the most powerful person in the world is not Bill Gates. It's not Elon Musk. I actually think it's CZ. I think CZ could do some serious damage in this world because he understands how the inner workings of this whole damn Fugazi works. And like I said, I mean, he's got like billions of dollars tapped in this thing. And I mean, you tell me, or look at that W. It's staring us right in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been thinking more and more about this. I wouldn't mind having a little bit of him on the books. And I guess what I'm thinking is Danny sort of cut from the same jib. I wouldn't mind. I don't know what the actual individual coins are, but I wouldn't mind having a chunk of Danny.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having a chunk of CZ. I wouldn't mind having a chunk of, really, it'd be interesting to see what the next project Do Kwon's wrapped up in. So, anyway, there's a closing thought for you to ponder here.
All right. Let's hear it.
That sure is an interesting looking chart, eh?
Yeah. I mean, it came up from nowhere.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing also, too. Nobody's talking about him right now, right? And nobody's talking about BNB.
All I saw about him was that he was denied being able to leave the U.S. the other day. Yeah.
Now, I would simply say that, anyway, kind of the same thing as Danny. I guess the point I'm trying to make is I actually like the idea of being long a chunk of these guys. That they're smart as whips. They're way smarter than I'll ever be. And really, all I want to do is I just want to own a chunk of them, and just let them make me rich. There's a lot of people that became extremely wealthy off of Steve Jobs going back to Apple, right? Same sort of thing. He just went long Steve Jobs. So.
Yeah. So the thing that I mentioned, it was denied permission to travel by a U.S. judge for the second time. He requested permission. Requested permission to travel to the UAE, where his 3 children reside, but as he awaits the sentencing from the U.S., they said nah.
Well, I didn't think he was. I thought he got off. Are we talking about Do Kwon, or are we talking about
CZ? I'm saying CZ.
Really? CZ? Is he under house arrest or something?
Well, no, I'll send you the thing in Discord. But yeah, ruling by Judge Richard Jones, the U.S. District Court for Western Washington, D.C. marks the second time he's been forbidden to travel. CZ has been permitted to travel after prosecutors argued that he was a flight risk. So, interesting.
He's saying, Well, I want to travel to the UAE where you're never going to see me again. No,
Yeah,
that's not my risk.
yeah. Sent to you,
That's
but
surprising. I didn't think he was in the United
that's
States.
why you got to check out the Coinigy's newsletter. It was mentioned
There
there
you
this
go.
week.
Damn straight. Well, there's a
Awesome. Well, Brian, thank you. I appreciate us getting through, powering through these, regardless of the technical difficulties we incurred before. But I'm glad we were
yeah.
able to power through. Hopefully, the audio was decent enough for you guys. I'll have to give it a listen after the fact. But thank you guys all again. And the link for signing up for the raffle for Brian's next semester is in the bio here. Encourage you guys all to really consider it. Brian and his team do some amazing stuff, and I've seen
Well,
just
for
from
the raffle,
working.
what the hell? It doesn't cost you
Oh,
anything and might
yeah,
just change your life.
but
So
just working with
all of you
Brian,
should do that. But the funny thing is, a bunch of viewers are actually TRI
TRIers. But yeah, I mean, just working with you and seeing the people who interact with you and just how highly they think of the program and what you guys run really speaks volumes. So,
That's
uh,
cool.
yeah, from an outsider's perspective, it really is awesome.
That's cool.
But on that note, everyone, I think that is it for the night, and we will see you guys next time.
Good night, everyone. Bye for now.